Well, hello everybody. Hello everybody. Welcome back to A Woman's Heart, where we uplift, motivate, encourage, and empower women. Well, as you can see tonight on flipping the script, we're talking about God's blessing. And I know a lot of people might not, be in tune with God, or they might not believe him to be true and that he exists. But how do you explain the things that happen and transpire in your life? And so, as usual, how we start off is always, we do definition to the words that we're talking about. And so, tonight we want to talk about blessed. So, that's the definition. So, the adjective of blessed means made holy, consecrated. And their example is the Blessed Sacrament. Uh, The informal version of bless is used in mild expression of annoyance or exasperation. There wasn't a blessing thing anybody could have done. Now that's the flip side of it. The noun is those who live with God in heaven are blessed. And so then I went down and it has what does it mean to say I am blessed? And it says if you say you've been blessed, you feel lucky to have something, health, love, fame, fortune, talent, etc. I'm very happy for you. The only time I feel blessed is when I sneeze. You can pronounce blessed as one syllable. And then the other meaning that came up for blessed was or enjoying happiness specifically. Christianity, enjoying the bliss of heaven, used as a title for a beautiful person, the Blessed Virgin Mary. Three, bringing pleasure, contentment, or good fortune, a blessed event. And the reason I chose this topic today is, in certain areas, in the conditions of the environment we live in, we don't realize how blessed we are. In certain countries, women don't have that many rights. They don't. They don't have a choice, and neither do they have a voice. And no matter how much they press or want to have that voice, they will never have that voice because of the country's rules and regulations. And even some countries, they did things to women's private parts that was just, it's just inhumane to me. And as we look around in our daily life and we see different things, we need to realize really how blessed we are. When I say that, we can talk about that mother who is desperately wanting to have a child. She didn't try it in vitro, she didn't try everything she knows how to become the mother that she wants to be. But because of maybe family history, because of her body, because of her organs, or she's not able to hold the baby, whatever the reasons may not be, she's not blessed enough to have that child. And in those kind of environments, you have to know when something like that happens to a woman, emotionally, she feels a certain way about herself. It feels like that her womanhood has been taken away from her. But for the woman who can have the child, who will carry the baby for 9 months, she is blessed. She is blessed. Children are a gift. They are a gift. They're not always planned, and they may not always come when you want them to come, but we have to realize they are a gift. Another way that we know we are blessed and God's blessing shines upon us is when we have crisis in our life. And because we are grounded and rooted in the word, it sustains us in hardship. We're able to cope with certain things that other individuals can't get through. They don't know the first steps in how to conquer what they're dealing with or how to not let them weigh them down, or neither maybe they don't have a a good circle of family or friends that can give them the words that will inspire them and motivate them to continue to walk on. So God's blessing is all around us. The sun shine, and some days we have cloudy days. We have the activity of our lands. We can breathe, we can see, we can hear, we can eat, we can take care of ourselves. Those are God's blessings, and He don't ask much from us. But when you think about that, how much do we give to others? Are we as compassionate to others as God is to us? And I know this is an unusual conversation, but again, and I've said this over and over, if COVID-19 haven't taught you anything else, it should have taught you to do a self-evaluation of your life, who you are as an individual. What purpose are you serving? What impact are you making on life? And what legacy are you leaving? That's what you should ask yourself. Have you forgiven those who have brutally hurt you? Have you let it go? Have you learned how to love beyond the hurt? Have you learned how to love beyond the pain? Can you look at yourself and say, I'm going to let that go, and I'm no longer going to hold on to that because I want to move forward and I don't want to let that keep dragging me backwards. I just left that point in my life. I don't want to return there anymore. I don't. And so God blesses us every day, second, minute, hour, week, month, and year. And for some of us, we never take the time to say thank you. And we done been through some hurdles. We done been through some storms that should have wiped us out, but it didn't because He kept us through all of it. And people have walked in and out of our lives. And what we have to learn is the door swings both ways. And sometimes it's meant to swing the way open so those individuals who are hindering you from your progress can leave. We've been living so long with dead weight weighing us down. We've been living so long with an abundance of negativity that other individuals have poured into us, and we absorbed it, we digest it, and we let it settle in our system instead of spewing it out the other way. We we became content with somebody say who we are when we know we are not that individual. And the saying goes, sticks and stone may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Or we can replace and say words will never hurt me. But words do hurt. They cut, and they cut deep. And sometimes in the cutting, we can't heal from it. We can't recover from being cut extensively. And sometimes it's not just one cut, it's multiple cuts. And it depends on where the wounds come from. If it comes from a close friend that you have cherished for years, a person that you never thought that they would do that to you. Or what about a family member that you thought that they love you beyond themselves and they still did something that was wrong for to you that caused the hurt and the harm? Well, the blessing is, and sometimes our blessing comes in all shape, forms, and fashions. Always say, no matter what you go through, how negative it is, how bad it is, there's always a message in the madness. Whether we want to pay attention to it or not, there is a message in the madness. And if we in life have experienced some things, we didn't experience them for no reason. It had a purpose. It has a place. We was just talking about this over the weekend with the girls I was hanging out with. And we was talking about things that we had been through in life and how those things in life had impacted us. And but God kept us through all of that. And then when you get to the point, you realize that you don't understand why you're going through what you're going through at that particular moment. And you feel like when you're praying and you're crying out that He don't hear and He don't know. But all the time He knows and he hears. It's just not the time to move you from that one spot to the next. See, we have to stand on the word again when it says his time is not our time. And so we have to understand the aspect of it. And so even though individuals come in our lives and they wreak havoc and they cause pain and they cause a storm and they cause relationships to break up, sometimes it's a way of showing you who people are, that you don't want to believe who that person is. And that's a blessing within themselves to get them out of your life, because they are a hindrance to your progress. You can't get to where you're going if you're holding on to dead weight. And even for me, it's hard to let go because we have that mentality and we think we can fix everything and everybody. And we can't fix everything and everybody. And all things are not meant for us to fix. Some things are meant for us to lay it at the feet of Jesus and walk away. But the hardest thing for us to do is to lay our problems, our issues, our concerns, our hatefulness, our unforgiveness, our lack of love, our hurt at the feet of Jesus and leave them there, because we feel like we need to take it upon ourselves to avenge what somebody has done to us. And that's not what he told us to do. It's not. And you don't want to cut off your blessings doing things your way and you didn't do it God's way. Because a lot of us have missed the blessings of God because we took things in our own hand. We should have let it go and let him deal with it. And we should have walked away. I don't care how bad it is. Is it easy? As I've said many times before, no, it's not easy. It's never easy to walk away from anything that's caused a disturbance within your spirit, your mental and your physical. It's never easy. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that when you're going through something, it's easy. But what I'm going to sit here and tell you is the first thing you do is need to pray about it. That's the first thing. And if you need to talk to somebody, find somebody who's like-minded, who will give you good, sound advice, even when you don't want to hear it. So if we want to grow and be better as women, we have to do a self-check of ourselves, because we're not perfect. We're all flawed in one way or another. And I'm not talking about physical features. I'm talking about how we respond to things. I'm talking about our mental and our emotions. Because some of us, like I said, is carrying a heavy weight of hurt. And we don't know the first thing to do to heal ourselves. And again, take it to Jesus. Do we say we trust him? Then we need to trust him. We talked about trusting. We talked about this. But we have to know, irregardless to what we say, that God still blesses us every day. Our families are still intact. For those who have not been affected by COVID, our family is still intact. And even if you have been affected by COVID-19, you're still blessed. God is still blessing you. We have to learn to have a little more appreciation and a little more love and a lot more compassion for others and a whole lot of understanding. Because again, we think we know somebody's story and we really don't know. We see the outside of an individual, but again, we never know what kind of demolition or construction is going on the inside. And we as women at times can be so judgmental. There are a lot of women out here who has some good, solid wisdom they can share, some good, solid advice that will keep us from falling in the holes and the traps that we fell in. But our problem is our defense mechanism comes up very quick. And our second problem is we get that I'm grown mentality. And the third one is nobody can tell us anything. Why? Because if it's good, sound advice, and if it's going to help you to be a better person, when I say becoming your better best selves, if that's going to help you, then why not take the advice? Why not listen to the individual? And I'm going to say this. I don't care if it's an alcoholic, it's a drug addict. You never know how God will provide you a message or who the vessel will be to bring the message to you. So never deny the source from which it comes from. If it's a good, valid advice to you that's going to be helpful and beneficial, and it's not something that's going to cut you down, it's not something that's going to make you feel less than, then what's wrong? Why you can't accept that advice? We have to learn to love us more. And we have to realize in God's blessing us, we're not all going to have children. We're not all going to be married. But we can be the best woman we can be, irregardless to our status of being married, irregardless to our status of being a mother. Sometimes we're not meant to carry a child physically. Sometimes we're meant to mother other kids. Have you thought about that? A lot of us say we want to be married, we want to be in a relationship, but do we really understand what that entails? Because that means if you take on the I do's, that means that you're sharing your space. That means that your privacy to do and the freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do is no longer yours. That means you decided to commit to somebody in a relationship for the long haul. That's what that means. And God blesses marriages. He does. So when we talk about getting into certain things, do we really, really, really understand what that entails? Have we really sat down and thought about how that would change our lives? When the doctors say you're pregnant, that's a blessing right there. To have a little life inside of you that's forming from from second, minute, hour, day, week, months. That's something that's forming inside of you. But with that something that's forming inside of you come great responsibility. You know what that responsibility is? That responsibility is to nurture. The blessing of being a mother, that responsibility is to nurture. That responsibility is sacrificing of self for your child. That responsibility is to lead and to guide that child. That responsibility is to teach that child. That responsibility is to protect that child. So when you decide to have that child, the child that God bless you with, your life is no longer your life. It's not. And I'm not saying you can't do certain things, you can't live life, but you have to understand a human life has altered your life. And the things that you used to do so freely, you can't do anymore. And then you can't bring a child in the world expecting somebody else to take care of your responsibility because it's not their obligation. It's your obligation. It's your obligation. And we have to heal ourselves because some of us pour our hurt and our anger into our children. Everything we have not addressed, we pour it into our children, and that impacts them. That's an extra weight that they don't need to carry. It's not their load to carry. So we don't want to look in the mirror of our own eyes and deep down within our souls and check ourselves, because then we have to face some demons. We'll have to face some things that we don't want to face. We'll have to take ownership to some things that we don't want to take ownership to. And it's time for us as women to do this, each including myself. We need to look at ourselves. If we say we want to be better, we want to do better, we want to have a stress-free life, we want to live longevity, we're going to have to cut some umbilical cords to some things That means friendship, relationships, whatever it may be. And the bottom line is we're going to have to start choosing ourselves. We cannot continue to let the words of others impact who we are when we know whose we are. We can't do that. How can we become the person that God designed us to be if we hold on to everybody else's garbage? You can't do that. You can't be the best woman. You can't be your best self holding on to somebody else's garbage. It's not your garbage to hold. You have enough in your own cup to deal with. So why would you want to hold on to somebody else's garbage? Why? You can't carry the burdens and the loads that you got for yourself. So how are you going to carry somebody else's burdens and load? You know, we're blessed beyond measure. Some of us are not hungry. Like I say, we live a good life. And I don't think we really understand how blessed we are at times. You know, just to open your refrigerator door to look in and say, yeah, I want to eat that. No, I don't want that. Now give me this juice over here. Now I want that juice. Now give me the orange juice over there. Yeah, give me that juice over there. You have a choice. There are a lot of individuals that don't have a choice. There are a lot of individuals that are hungry. They're hungry. Do you realize your blessings? Do you really realize if you got money in your bank account that you can go in and get money out? Do you realize your blessings? Do you really realize it? When you look at your kids and your family is still intact, nobody's life has been snatched from people on the street or a stray bullet or maybe by a police officer or maybe by a robbery or maybe by a sickness or disease. Have you looked around lately to see God's blessing is all around you? Have you really looked around? We complain about little things, the smallest of things that should not even matter. And we're still not satisfied. We're not satisfied whatsoever. The cars that we drive, we're not satisfied. What will it take for us? Do we have to sit in tragedy to understand God's blessing? Do we have to sit in sickness to understand God's blessing? Do we have to sit in death to understand God's blessing? We shouldn't. We shouldn't. We should be thankful and grateful every day for the little things that we have. And I'm not talking about big things. You got a roof over your head. That's a blessing. You're not sleeping in a cardboard box. You're not sleeping in an alley. Neither are you sleeping in your car. That's a blessing. And if you have no food at home, but you can pick up the phone and call somebody and say, look, me and my kids, well, I'm hungry. And somebody say, I'm going to send you some groceries right now. That's a blessing. If you have shoes to put on your feet, that's a blessing. If you can get up out of your bed and know that you are getting out of your bed and walk to the bathroom, get your towel and your face out and get in the shower to clean yourself, that's God's blessing. Because there's a lot of people that get up out their bed and don't know they was in the bed, neither they know they're in their houses. So we take so many things for granted in life. We take it for granted. We're not appreciative of too much of anything. Some of us, and I'm not saying all of us. We're not appreciative, not at all. And that's not how it should be. We should be more appreciative of things. We should be. And why are we not? I don't know. Can you answer that question for me? Have we become so self absorbed in our lives, in our financial status? Have we? Have you realized the things that you've been through has made you who you are, stronger, wiser? Have you realized that? God allow us to go through things, but he don't allow us to stay in them. The scriptures say, yea, though I walk through the valley. So he's telling you, you're not gonna be in that valley for long. You are coming out on the other side. May not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but know that you're coming out. Whatever the problem is, whatever the situation is, you have to trust, believe, and have faith that you're coming out. We can't continue to sit here talking about we love the Lord, He heard our cry. And then, as soon as the smallest of things happen in our lives, we lose our faith and we lose our vision and our hope and belief in God that He's going to see us through. And now, let me say this, everybody don't want to hear your story. Everybody is not going to be encouraging. Everybody is not going to be inspiring. And we have to understand that. But that has nothing to do with you. You continue to be who you are. Let nobody change who you are as an individual. We've all been hurt in some shape, form, or fashion. We've all been hurt. And we've all hurt someone. We have. The blessing is that He didn't snatch us from life, from some of our stupidity. He allowed us to continue to breathe on. And breath is important. You don't have no breath, you don't have no life. So as long as you're living life and you are breathing, then we should make a conscious effort, a conscious choice to be better and do better as individuals. And this is not about anybody else. This is about us as women. Again, we live in such negativity. We see it on the news. We see it in reality shows. We work in workplaces with it. We see it on the street. And it's sad. Nobody can tell us nothing. Nobody can say nothing to us. This is not how we should be. I am your sister. I'm looking out for your best interest. I love you. I care about you. And that's what we should do. I will support you in whichever way I can. That's how we should think about this. We can't let what somebody else did to us define who we are and change who we should be because they did something to us. That's not how this should go. It's not. And the blessing, God's blessing is for those who have demeaned someone, who has attacked somebody's character, who has set trap, who has been mean, cruel, and evil to another woman. It's going on your record. You got to know that. Reaping and sowing is real. And just like you do to somebody else, it can be done to you, but much worse. And see, I don't think we think about the aspect of when we setting up people, we telling people's business and we're being negative and we're being supportive of them. And we always saying, well, she thinks she this and she thinks she that. But God blessed that person to get where they are. You don't know their story. You didn't write it. You didn't live it. You didn't walk it. So how can you tell somebody who they think they are when you didn't walk that road? That was not your road to travel. You need to take care of your own street before you get on somebody else's street to travel. You got enough stuff on your own street to manage, to watch out for the pitfalls and the potholes in the construction zones in your own street before you try to get on somebody else's. And that's what we should think about. Let us stop looking to people on TV and try to mimic who they are. Be who you are. Nobody else. You can't be nobody else. You have to be who you are for you. God didn't make you to be Barbara. He didn't make me to be Sally Ann. He made me to be Renee. So whatever I do, I have to be Renee. I can't take on nobody else. I have to be who I am. I have to stay true to myself. We live in such fake world. You know, we try to impress people that we shouldn't even think about impressing. and it end up not being good for us. Some of us even go broke trying to be something that we're not. And how does that work? Because if somebody don't like you, they don't like you. I don't care how much money you have. They just don't like you. And sometimes it's not a reason. They just don't like you. And most of the time it's jealousy. And all the time we don't have to react to it. We just don't. So ladies, do you realize how blessed you are? Look around your household. Look at your kids. Look at your husband. Look at your financial status. If you're employed, look around. If you're driving a decent car, look around and see how God's blessing has been shining upon you every second, every minute, every day, every hour, every month, and every year. Do you realize how you've been kept? Do you realize how you've been covered and protected? Even in some of our stupidity, we've been covered and protected. Do you realize that? Do you really realize that? That's God's blessing all day long. Blessings like the rainbow from one end to the other. Just pouring down on you. Now, are we perfect? No. Do we make mistakes? Yes. All the time we make mistakes. But his blessings don't stop. We can't live with a closed heart. We can't live with a closed mind. And we definitely can't live with closed hands. A closed heart does not help us to love, to forgive, and have compassion and understanding for somebody else. That closed mind plays serious tricks on you, thinking things are a certain way and they are not. And your closed hand, you misses all the blessings and the opportunities that can come your way. So you need to look at some things, ladies. Look in the mirror. Don't look at nobody else. This is all about you, that woman who stands in the mirror every day and look at herself. Be happy with who you are. Thank God for blessing you to be who you are, who he made you to be, and walk in that strength. Walk in your purpose. Walk in your awesomeness. Walk in your shine. You are a queen. Don't let nobody shift your crown or snatch it from you. Don't allow anybody to do that to you. You are uniquely designed by God. And one thing I know is he don't make no junk. However he made you was perfect. And it was made just for you. So embrace who you are and let no one tell you any different than that. Walk in that. You're not what people say you are. Not. Don't take ownership to that. They say you ugly, say I am not. I'm beautiful. If they say you too fat, say I got enough meat to survive off of. You follow what I'm saying? We all are flawed in one shape, form, or fashion. We don't like something about ourselves. But this is the way we was made. So embrace it. Embrace it. Let nobody shake you from those grounds. Know that the woman that you are on the ground that you stand on. Believe that wholeheartedly. Walk in that affirmation of who you are as a woman. Really, walk in that affirmation. I want you to walk in that. I want you to believe it for yourself. That way, when somebody come along with something negative, it won't sink into the sponge and you won't soak it up like water in the sponge. And then you won't allow so much water to get and so much negativity in your sponge like the water that it will weigh you down. We're in the season of shaking it off. So I want you to shake it off. Shake it all off. Don't carry it. Don't look back to it because it's gone. Let it go. Live your best life, becoming your better, best self. And that's what it's all about. Thank God for the blessings. Thank God for your family. Thank God if your mother, your parents are still living. Thank God if your grandparents are still living. Thank God that you have a job. Thank God you can be off work for 2 years. Thank God you got a house, you got a car. Thank God that you're in your right mind. Those are God's blessings. Thank God for the activity of your limbs, your vision, your nose, where you can smell, your mouth where you can talk, your ears you can hear. You can dress yourself, you can feed yourself. You can go where you want to go and know that you're going there. Those are God's blessings. So never negate those blessings. And let us open our heart and our minds to love more, to be more understanding, to be more compassionate and more forgiving. And let us not be so judgmental of one another. Let us try to start to help each other. That's what I want us to do. That's what this is all about. If you've never watched not one stream, I pray that you feel confident enough to know that what I tell you is for us to be better. And I pray that you will share it with somebody because, again, as I said many times before, we never know where anybody is sitting at this present moment. You never know their thought process. You never know what they're struggling with. Mental illness is real. Depression is real. Stress is real. Let us be the blessing to save somebody's life with some kind words or some thoughtfulness. And let us just let them know you are not alone. You're not alone. All right, ladies. So I hope and I pray that this conversation has resonated in your spirit. And I hope that you go back and replay this. And then I want you to do a self evaluation for yourself. And then you have to answer the questions for yourself in order for you to move forward and release the baggage, let go of the dead weight, cut the umbilical cord. And if you got to cut some cords and let some people go, so be it. That's what you need to do. It's all about a healthier you. And sometimes in life, everybody's not meant to travel the road that you're traveling to your next destination, especially if it's dead weight. Nobody needs to carry dead weight. I don't care what it is. We need to learn how to let it go because dead weight is unhealthy. It weighs you down. It slows up your progress. So let us move forward, ladies. Let us move forward. All right. So again, make sure you follow us on all our social media outlets. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest. Take somebody to YouTube and subscribe. Check out the website if you have any suggestions or any conversation you would like us to talk about. I'm working on some women that's going to be coming on talking about their business. We just have to get everybody's schedules lined up that's workable for them. But again, if you know any woman that has a business that would like to be highlighted, please send me an email, number 2 at a woman's heart at gmail.com. This is not a cost factor. This is all about supporting those who have put in the work to build a business. That's what it's about. And we as women need to be supportive of one another to help each other get to that next destination because when you help somebody else, that helps you too. All right. Don't forget, we have a social media outlet for women only. You want to share your life moments, you want to network, or you want to brand your business. Go to the social media outlet. That's number 2, a woman's heart.org, not .com, but .org, and sign up for the social media outlet. You can do advertising in there, you can brand your business and all kinds of stuff. Go over there and check it out. It's just for women. We have to fight for a space in society, and this is our space that I've created just for us. So let us use that space wisely. All right. Don't forget to go to the website. The t-shirts are up, and y'all check out the t-shirts. All right. Well, ladies, as you see, this hot flash menopause ain't no joke. Let me tell you. She real. She real. She really real. All right. Until we talk again. Take care.